so many Chinese and also Muslims.
If you're someone looking for easily accessible nature,
A couch potato, don't move to Korea.
Maybe a person that likes community a lot. It's a little bit more single person driven. Everyone's a little bit on their own.
If you're not disciplined, you cannot come here because people are gonna really look at you.
I'm a shy person, so I think it's a good country for this type of person.
Don't come to Korea if you're this person.
I think someone who's unable to adapt and mold to the culture and environment they're in, you are a guest in the country. And there's a lot of cultural and societal norms that might be different from where you come from. I think someone with an open mind and someone who is able to live and maybe pull back their self-expression a little bit to fit in.
Illegal visa people, especially like, no offense, but so many Chinese. Of course, there are so many good Chinese, but still most of them, I cannot say more, just for my own safety. And also Muslims, yeah. Of course, some good Muslims exist, I understand that, but most of them, not only in Korea, like also in Europe country and then other countries, they're causing problems. So, I mean, like if they have a good attitude and they're ready to accept the Korean culture, then no problem to visit and stay. Because some of my good Muslim friends, and they accept the Korean culture, they eat porks, and then they accept like Korean rules, so they don't cause the problem. So for them, I'm also okay with them. So those people are not actually welcome in Korea for like our own safety and then for like the good the circumstance in Korea. So that's the thing that I can say. No offense, I love the word peace, okay?
I think someone who expects the whole world to adapt to them and cater to them instead of adapting to the place where they are. Some people have been here for, many years and they don't make the effort of learning Korean at all. And I'm not saying like you have to speak fluent Korean. My own Korean is pretty broken, but it's about making the effort, and wanting to communicate with people.
I think if you're someone looking for wide open spaces maybe or easily accessible nature, I think maybe that might be a bit difficult.
If you like your beaches without concrete on them. So like back home we have massive stretches of beaches where there's like nothing there, where you've just got like a forest and it goes straight to a beach and that's it. There's no infrastructure there. And it's quite nice because it means you can get away from everything. But over here, we've only been to a few beaches, obviously the ones that are easily accessible, but they're very, very filled with like, shops and also like sculptures and like weird things on the beach. Like, I don't know, just like lots of weird shit going on.
I think the close-minded people, because you can see the streets, the people, they're very different, and this is a very different culture that if you are, for example, European people, this is so different of every country that you can see in Europe or United States or wherever you go.
Maybe not people who are a little bit racist or not open to see other cultures.
I was thinking that Korea is a very cookie-cutter society, so if, say a person likes to do their own thing and not necessarily conform to societal norms, then they would have a hard time here. I'm sure you've heard about it. There is the nunchi, so paying attention to what the norm is and conforming to it and kind of watching what other people are doing. So yeah, they would have a hard time because of that.
Honestly, I would say like a cheap tori or a couch potato, don't move to Korea. It's not for you.
Why do you think those people shouldn't move to Korea? Like, why do you think Korea is not for them?
Korea is just like a place where you need to go out and see things. And to do that, you need to like leave your environment.
Maybe a person that likes community a lot. I mean, you can obviously visit, but so yeah, it's a little bit more single person driven. Everyone's a little bit on their own. And if you're just visiting, maybe it's hard to make friends, just like that. If you don't like walking or stairs, it's a lot of walking, which I love, but lots of exercise, just going to cafes or whatever.
Actually, here you really gotta be really disciplined. That's what I've noticed, and I've been here like for only a month. If you're not disciplined, you cannot come here because people are gonna really look at you. So you gotta,
I think anybody can come to Korea. Korea is so fun. There's so many events, so many activities to do. Like, you'll never get bored here. Maybe if you don't like the vibe of Korea, or like maybe it doesn't suit your vibe, but I think anybody can enjoy Korea. Like, there's so many things to do. There's always something happening in Korea. So
maybe who eats a lot of shy.
I'm a shy person, but this country offers different to these people, introverted people. So I think it's a good country for this type of person.
I think people who don't like the culture can't come in Korea because this is really hard. If you don't speak Korean or if you can't read the Korean, it's a bit difficult.
The type of person who should not come to Korea is a person who can't adapt well. Basically, if you're kind of like stubborn and stuck in your ways, you shouldn't live abroad where it's completely different to your own culture and then expect that same set of standards and rules and culture from your country to apply to Korea. For instance, like the whole, like even the escalator rule, I love it. In Canada, you just go, people just zigzag, go straight, or you just stand. In Korea, you have to stay on the right side. And if you want to walk, you go to the left side. But a person who's very stubborn and who's not flexible, I wouldn't recommend coming to Korea.
I feel like if you're not someone who's like prepared, like who plans things, especially if you're gonna live here, it's not gonna be easy. Also because it's not easy to find a house, and your house is probably gonna be far away from like anything, like, and even if it's nearby something, it's gonna be far away from something else. So you have to commute, you have to plan your days, I feel like, or you could like just think, I'm gonna be in this neighborhood for like the whole day. And that's pretty spontaneous. You can do other activities, but you need to, I feel like, be someone who plans a little bit your things, the things you're gonna do.
What's something about Korean life that foreigners often can handle?
How people aren't necessarily super direct, so you really have to read in between the lines most of the time, and Koreans won't be very direct with you about what they expect and what they want necessarily. So you do have to do a little bit of guessing.
Something that could be perceived as a slight or an inconsiderate gesture in your home country, that is just the norm here. For example, people not holding the door open when they walk in front of you, or the staring. If you look a bit different or wear different colored clothing, you will get stared at a lot. Stopping in the middle of the sidewalk to use your phone.
Personal space is like non-existent here. I would say with personal space, you want to give it like 2 or 3 weeks, and then you'll get used to it. There'll be like an old man right in front of you on the subway, and they'll be like super close, you know, you're cheeked up in front of me. You get really used to it.
The working culture here is so much different than, say, I'm from Europe, so much more different than Europe. A lot of overtime, there's not much freedom in terms of taking initiatives in the working environment. I think people that have gotten used to working more independently, and they would have a hard time getting used to the working culture here in Korea.
I think you can handle everything if you have the open-minded. you get what I mean.
Maybe the food, the prices of fruit. Like recently, I just did a coupon order, and I bought a box of tomatoes that didn't have stevia in it, because for some reason they're sweet in here. But the box of tomatoes was 11,000. I bought the premium. I haven't tried them yet, so they better be premium, and I'm like a tomato tester, so. But then it kind of teaches you to then learn how to cook with other vegetables, because like, you know, carrots are pretty cheap here, onions, root vegetables, so you're really getting a hearty diet. But for like kind of fruits that you're used to back home, like for me, like apples, like a Honeycrisp apple, it's very expensive and hard to get.
Maybe the language, it's really hard to learn the language, but like you can get used to it by learning some small phrases. It can be good.
Maybe learning the culture is pretty difficult because there's a lot of levels to it as well. So I feel like if you're not used to it for a while, it's hard to get used to and know that you're saying the correct thing if you do speak Korean. If you don't, even then, there's still a lot of way of handling and just talking and being, standing that, has like cultural significance.
I feel like it's hard to handle the way, like the Pali culture. First of all, like everyone just goes, like everyone goes fast. The bus gets full and nobody cares if it's full. They're gonna get in because they have places to go. And the work culture in the sense that I have friends who work here, and like if a foreigner does something and they don't like that foreigner, they're gonna like scold them. But like if someone else does it and they like that person, especially if they're Korean, it's not gonna be as harsh of a treatment, you know? And like in general, I feel like Korean people are pretty nice. Like they're pretty nice. It's just, you need to be kind.
Have you seen foreigners struggle to adapt in Korea, and why?
I think if you're a person that's not afraid to put yourself out there, it's going to be way easier to like build a community here. But otherwise, you really just have to like break out of your shell, try to meet people, or else people won't necessarily come to you.
I have seen foreigners struggle a lot in Korea, particularly in the workplace. The hierarchical structure is quite strong. Personally, I'm from Australia, where that doesn't really exist. It exists, but it's, not to the extent it does here. When they enter a workplace where it's almost subservient to the people above you, they find it very hard to withdraw and, allow their seniors to make the decision, even if they think it's the wrong thing to do.
Honestly, I see it all the time. They will like take their time to come out here, and they will not leave their house or like go experience Korean culture. There's so much to do and see. There's like so much richness to the culture. They just don't want to see it, and it aggravates me.
Depending on where you come from, Korean people will always view you as different, no matter how good you speak the Korean language or how aware you are of the cultural norms. If you're not just doing your own thing and you're trying to kind of live your way in the Korean society, but you're not able to, I think one would have a really hard time because of that.
Yeah, I've seen some struggle. I included, especially the first times. Sometimes you don't know, like the culture is so different from what I am used to and what some of my friends are used to. At first, you struggle a lot, like you don't know how to use. I didn't know how to use some apps. Like I have to download many apps for everything, and like the language barrier. I knew Korean when I came here, but some don't know. So that can be a problem.
I've seen some struggling. It was mainly because of the study culture here. It's really hard. Like people study like every time. So you gotta like keep up. And if you come from another country, here it can be a bit hard for you. So you gotta like study the double of what people do here.
I have seen foreigners struggle a lot, especially women, maybe just because I'm also a woman, specifically making friends. They say it's really difficult to make friends here in Korea, whether it be with other Koreans or with other foreigners. There are other ways to make friends. I think if you're going to live abroad, then you're taking a big step into your life. So then you should take an even bigger step into making friends because you already traveled so far. I would say that's probably one of the hardest struggles here.
A lot of people say that when they first came here, they had a shock because it was way different. Because it's a country. Like every country has its own thing. You come here, it's still a country with its people. It's not like Korean people are like some sort of like fantastic like creatures. They're still people.
What's one attitude or mindset that doesn't work well in Korea?
Someone like myself, they don't like to bend the knee or really accept something just because it's a cultural or societal norm. A lot of trouble can come about if you don't respect the culture and environment that you're living in. It doesn't mean you have to, completely adhere to it, but at least respect it enough not to offend anyone. So you have to be malleable enough to remain yourself, but still respect your surroundings and the environment that you're in.
I think not being hardworking or not being willing to, put in the effort and work hard. I think Koreans are very hardworking, sometimes a bit too much. Don't be lazy.
I would say someone that is not open-minded, and I don't mean that as like a pun. You got to be open-minded and you got to be able to go out and experience the community that you want for yourself.
I think not being respectful. The language is centered around being respectful, and it's just such a big thing here. So if you are not aware of what is considered respectful and you're not willing or able to kind of not only give it a go, but like be very thoughtful about it, that wouldn't fare well with the Korean people.
This kind of attitude, like I have to do things my own way. When you go to Rome, do what Romans do. yeah, you have to be adaptable to this kind of culture.
There's like a type of person that's very headstrong. I think that's a better word. You need to be a little lenient. So if you can't be lenient, you have your own ways and you don't want to waver from that.
Who usually thrives in Korea and who usually hates it?
The people who thrive are people who are open-minded. No, but truly, being open-minded really helps you live here well because then you don't take things too personally, you don't take it too seriously. It's like, oh, I'm supposed to walk this way. Oh, I'm not supposed to cross the street yet. I'm not allowed to jaywalk. Oh, people do it this way. It's different, so be it. Does it kill you? No. As long as nothing's harming you, you'll be okay. Just be open-minded. And the people who struggle, who are closed-minded, who think their culture is right, there is no right culture. All cultures are different and they're equal to each other. So having this belief that like, oh, but back in Canada or back in America or back wherever you're from, we used to do it like this. Well, it's not here unless you're gonna go run for office.
Who thrives in Korea? People who don't like expect it to be some sort of like fairy tale. Like people who are open to new cultures and people who behave differently from them and who doesn't live well here. I feel like people who expect to just be rude or like be the same as any like their home country and expect people to just say, okay, well, I'm gonna adapt to you, but that's not how it works. Like it should be mutual
mutual respect.
Would you tell your younger self to move to Korea or stay away?
Absolutely, I would say to come. I've had both positive and negative experiences here, but in the grand scheme of things, everything molds you and has contributed to who you are as a person, who I am as a person. And I think it's only a net positive traveling and experiencing different cultures, mindsets, thought processes. Travel broadens the mind. So
I think I would just tell myself, you're thinking about going to Korea in the future, don't hesitate. You'll make friends, you'll study a lot, you'll work hard, but it's going to be worth it. You'll have fun.
100% come here, stay here as long as you can. I wish I would have gotten here sooner. Like my first time here, I went from a small town to bam, you're in Korea, Seoul's right there, Busan's right there, everything in the country is right there. I would have said, Isaac, get over there sooner.
I will tell you to come to Korea because I'm learning architecture. The huge development that had Korea in the past few years, it's just insane. Me coming from a country underdeveloped, so it actually opens my perspective now. So yeah, I will definitely recommend myself to come to Korea.
Hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you love to see more like this in the future, be sure to be subscribed and also turn on the notification. If you're traveling to Korea, be sure to check out my guidebook, which is going to be linked in the description. See you in the next video.